Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, or has it been forever? 'Cause dying don't agree with me, no. Dying don't agree with me, no. All you board ghosts, come with me, we're going home.
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experiences. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is Downfall by Caroline Hobbs. You can find it on less-than-3games.com. Our players, myself, John Holt.
Me, Lisa Renke.
Oh, faked you out. And with me, Ken Breeze, as always.
All right. So this is a game that we are playing for the first time. I'll put together a primer episode that gives sort of the basics on how the game is played. We're going to go ahead and generate the first part, which is the grid. So the basics on this game is that you are creating a world that is flawed at its heart. The very thing that this world is built upon will come about as its destruction.
I love the premise of this game.
So we're going to initially build a world and then play characters within it who push it to the end. So the first thing we're going to do is actually choose the flaw. Mm-hmm. The key thing is they are general concepts, not narrow behaviors.
Yeah.
So an example, environmental degradation is not a flaw, but greed is. The flaw is the root cause.
I see.
So that's sort of
That's
the initial thing.
Let's get nuts. I'm ready to take some chances.
What's in your head, Ken, for a flaw? What do you feel?
I mean, I'm ready to take on something huge. Like, let's do racism or sexism. Like, let's do it, But, I mean, that's me, so...
I feel uncomfortable taking on racism as we are all of the same race, which none of you will ever guess.
Good call.
Elves. No, one of us is half elf, so...
That's me.
Mixed race.
Mixed. Maybe something just a step down. I mean, we could easily do sort of like Seven Sins style, where it's like wrath or pride. Yeah, something like that might be it.
What from Seven Sins catches your...
Sloth.
Sloth. All right.
Alrighty.
Sloth is it. Sloth has been chosen. Now comes a fun part where we all get to write down an element of the world.
A note, there is a grid of elements. So air is an example, music, highway, steam, silence, sea, dust. Those are all examples off their grid. And in terms of creating custom ones, just a note they give you is an element should not be a specific person, place, or thing, e.g. Bob, the Eiffel Tower, the Constitution. It should also not be an abstract idea, e.g. history, affection, democracy, etc.
Have you met a Bob the Eiffel Tower before?
Yeah, like Bob's the name of the Eiffel Tower, right?
Bob the Eiffel Tower.
Bob.
You can use just the Eiffel Tower, but specifically naming the Eiffel Tower.
Not cool. Not cool.
So they're saying, elements should be things or ideas that we can sense. Colors, materials, sounds, natural phenomena, and tools make strong elements. So again, there's a whole grid of options, and what we're each going to do is actually choose an element and then sort of reveal it to the others as our pieces, and they can be disparate. What's your element, Ken?
My element is music. I've been thinking a lot about music lately. I definitely wanted that to be a part of our game today, however that manifests.
Another element of our world is fire.
Nice! Okay.
Another element is pasta.
Nice! John.
So now we take our elements and use that to generate our world. So we, as a group, are going to discuss what is this world? What is a world of sloth at its heart with music, fire, and pasta as the element?
Yes, I love it. Pasta's an interesting one for me, John, because I feel like it takes work to make pasta. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean like actually preparing the meal of pasta itself, which is fairly basic. but actually creation of pasta itself. Like you have to grow all this stuff, and then you gotta mill it together and create this pasta.
An interesting thing about pasta though is that it's hard, and you can
Indeed.
use it to make jewelry with. You could even make perhaps something larger, like whole houses of pasta.
Yeah, like a dried pasta.
Are you saying that the building materials of our world are pasta? Pasta
I am
based?
suggesting that.
They're pasta
There's a
based.
palace of pasta.
Oh, it sounds so good.
Oh man, I'm ready to go
And
there. Sounds good. So
organs made of
is everything
pasta.
in our world made out
Are
of pasta?
we made of pasta?
Are we made out of pasta? That's a
well,
great
is it kind
question.
of like, I mean, sloth, for some reason it makes me think of
Fraggle Rock?
Fraggles. So they just kind of like hang out all day, and it's the
Those are
the
doozers.
doozers who build everything, and then they just eat with the doozers because they build stuff out of radish like material, and then
Or it's like clear. It's like
Yeah.
it looks like sugar.
Yeah, it's
but
like
we never know. We never learned.
and that's what they keep building, and the slothful fraggles
yeah, just
keep eating away at it.
Eating away at
So
it.
there's a 2-class system: the pasta makers and the pasta eaters.
Right.
Could
and
be that.
They could be like mechano pasta, or like some sort of
Oh man.
genetically engineered things that just generate pasta out of their bodies.
And sing as they.
That's the sound.
my gosh.
So
generate
if
music.
sloth is the core of our world, is everyone trying to be lazy? Is everyone trying to not do work or trying to not?
Well, I mean, that's the thing too, is we can right now, as we think about the world, we don't have to get too deep
That's
into
true.
the sloth of it. Like this
We
is
can
more
get into
the,
traditions
the
later.
impressions of
Yeah.
like what it
We can
feels
get
Oh,
like.
yeah, the
and-
world.
Yeah, like what
What it looks like.
What
Yeah.
is what are the mechanisms
What are
of the world?
what are the physical descriptions and culture of our world based off of these three things?
Is it the culture right now, or just the physical description? I think.
I mean,
This is like the physical description, the music, fire, and pasta. Yeah,
like rivers
so-
of lava, stuff like that. What if the pasta can only be created or grown or something through music?
Oh, I like it.
So you have to, I don't know,
Is it
play
sort
the
of,
pasta into existence, or maybe there are people who can even shape the pasta using music.
Pastamancers.
Pastamancers. Yeah.
Stealing that from another game.
Yeah. Do it. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a thermo generated heat,
Yeah.
and that's sort of like your fire. So you just
Yeah.
have these pools beneath where heat comes through, and then whether it's machines or whatever that can spit out pasta, and also we use to power musical devices, or again, are tapped, or maybe again maybe there are two classes of citizens: the Morlocks who live beneath and have the sounds of their machines that maintain our upper world are the music to our lives.
Yeah. So what's the anathema to dry pasta? It's water, right? Like
Yeah.
water is going to make you noodly and unrigid, non-rigid, de-rigid, if you will. So maybe we're underground. We're underground. So water.
Are we in a volcano?
Are we in a volcano? Do we live in a volcano, like
Yeah.
around?
Like
it?
on a volcanic island.
Yeah, I like
So
kind of
it's
like
just
that.
There's nothing.
Kinda
Like
like-
we're at the cone. Like
I was
that's where we
thinking
live,
inside.
Yeah,
down in the crater.
Like in the crater, you can see
Yeah.
the lava going around.
And so
Yeah.
what do we live sort of in cliff dwellings around?
yeah, exactly.
around the
Like
interior
cliff
of the
dwellings
cone?
around the.
Yeah, I
it's
like that. That's interesting.
What is it? A caldera? Caldera.
Yeah, but it's
That'd
like
be fun.
it's more than a caldera, because caldera is like solid at the top. But
Mhm.
this is an active.
Yeah, yeah. So then can we go the other way and say that outside of our cone of fire, or our it's super cold out there, so it's like no one lives out there in the cold
That's
lands.
why.
That's maybe why we've settled in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Pueblo
Yeah,
wall dwellings,
exactly.
but inside the volcano.
exactly.
So we got the fire look taken care of.
Yeah.
Where does the pasta manifest, and where does the music
Well,
manifest?
I think pasta's harder to do, so let's maybe focus
Music,
on that
I was
first.
thinking, because so in a volcano, one of the other things you have to do is vent the poisonous gases.
Yes.
So maybe we've also created these systems for venting the gases that it's almost like the
like
volcano is
chimes
a
or
giant
flutes.
pipe organ.
Pipe organ.
That
yeah.
just
Yes.
constantly busting
I love
out
that.
the gases above us, away from our
I love
dwellings, and
Yeah.
out the sides.
So it's just a constant stream of.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is it that the musical sounds are happening like twice a day or 3 times a day, or is it more like they're happening whenever enough buildup has happened and they just automatically? So it's more sporadic. Is it sporadic?
Constant?
Is it constant? Is it sporadic? Or is it timed?
I mean, we can get into it, but it could be something that someone maintains.
Yeah.
So what does it look like, the music apparatus?
Yeah.
I guess it's a question of like, if we go with more of a Pueblo kind of thing, it could be like carved from the very rock, or like we sort of work with lava tubes and what tools we have.
Oh, lava tubes. That's interesting.
Like we've kind of like shaped.
I mean, I feel like people who live around in a lava place know how to forge things out of metal too. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't see like why metal couldn't be a part of other societies. So you could have these
or like
huge metal pipes.
Yeah, or even glass, like farmed from sand that's then like used, because then you just lower it close enough to the heat that it melts into its form, and then you pull it out and cool it, and so it's almost like.
So there are these pipes.
They're all kinds. They could be all kinds of different.
Yeah, made out of material, different kinds of materials.
Is there a lattice work over the top of the volcano that the pipes are attached to?
Or are they attached to the edges?
Or the edges. And are they glass or metal?
Edges. I was thinking edges. They can be made out of any
I'd like to know if they're glass or metal. Let's pick.
Why not both?
Yeah, I'd say both. Because then maybe again like that chime sort of thing where you have some that are like the ones that are hung loose. And like maybe we do have a lattice. So there's this caldera of things, and then we have these bridges
over the top,
just like stretch along in different, like across different parts to connect, so you don't always have to go all the way around.
Oh yeah, maybe it's like a whole almost web work through the center.
And then you have these glass pipes that kind of dangle within and kind of like rock, and then the stone and metal ones are larger ones that are pushed up, like they're along the sides.
And they push up out of the volcano and make the deeper noises, maybe. Yeah. Probably.
Cool. That's great. So that I kind of like the idea that these pipes allow for any volcanic eruption to not harm us. We try to like they go through the pipe. They go through the pipes themselves, or there's something like that where we're able to keep ourselves from being destroyed by shunting these.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Pressures.
Did we want the rest of the world to be ocean, like we're an island, or do you want it to be a winter landscape?
I like winter landscape.
I'm all for winter landscape. Maybe there are farm, like there are a few areas that are like hot spots.
Sure.
They've had all these engineering solutions, and so they've created these hot spots, and that's where they have little farm like pockets that are just kind of heated from below to keep the soil from permafrost. Whether they're bubbles or whatever this world has, they have a means of farming.
And what, pasta is a delicacy?
A standard staple.
It's kind of what they have to eat. Yeah,
I think we have a good idea of what this world looks like, and that seems to be the most important part. The rich physical description of the world.
So we have like this pasta. Maybe it's they have some subterranean farming and some above ground. So it's
alien pasta.
They have ways to generate this food. This like it's a carb food.
It is a carb food. I don't know how do you usually make pasta? What is it made out of? Corn?
No, it's like wheat.
Wheat,
and eggs.
Wheat and eggs.
And water.
Yeah. Wheat and eggs and water.
Oh, I guess we have to melt snow for water.
There you go. I like it. We melt snow for water. Yep. What kind of eggs are we eating? I kind of want to say we're eating like alligator eggs or snake eggs or something like that, not chickens.
Are we eating something that lives in the lava?
Yeah, what's a reptile?
Like a lava monster?
Lava monster eggs. Lava eels.
Some sort of like salamander.
Yeah, salamander.
Cool. So
there's salamanders living in the lava.
Lava salamanders.
We like fish up them.
That we can get their eggs somehow. Yeah, we fish it up.
So if the world is predicated upon sloth, and we have all these engineering feats, why wouldn't the underclass, if you will, just be robots or mechanical machine people?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Like why humans, if we're going to be playing humans, which I think we are, they wouldn't do anything then. They'd just be super.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can. That
style.
Might be something we keep. Like, we'll see how that plays out in traditions. Maybe.
Okay.
And we know what the structures.
We know what the structure. Yeah, we have I have a good idea.
Yeah. So the next step in our world building process is to define and create traditions. Traditions are sort of based on the flaw of the world,
right.
And there are various. What we're going to each do is take a card and write down a category at the top and then kind of describe out what that tradition is for one another. So categories are like architecture, art, birth, communication, death, economics, education, employment, entertainment, family, fashion, food, government, grief, hospitality, justice, love, military, naming, relationships, and religion. And so those are all elements that we can't in this round each have. We can't do 2 religions or something. We have to each do a different one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what we'll do is kind of write that category and then take turns in any order, kind of coming up with what that tradition is in relation to the world and in relation to the category and how it reflects the flaw. That's kind of the 2 things we're looking for. Like, what is the category of the tradition and how does it reflect the flaw? Like, what does that make?
So I guess mine's religion. I'm just going to say it's righteous to have machines do everything for you. The more righteous you are, the less you do. The more righteous you are, the more machines do things for you.
How is that message spread through the people?
I'm going to say that, like, having your lungs replaced by cybernetic lungs or mechanical lungs, so you don't even have to breathe for yourself, stuff like that. I think there's going to be some weird...
Who's in charge of this message?
Who's in charge of this message?
Is there a central church type
that
thing
is great.
or not?
Who's in charge of the message? I'd say that... Oh, man. I'd say that there's probably a church then. Yeah, it's probably...
Is there a deity or not? Or is the deity a concept?
I think the deity... Well, let's just get right to it. I mean, I guess they would then worship some sort of, I don't know, supine blob or something like that. Like, I think that they would worship what's convenience, right? Of like worship the concept of like not having to labor for anything.
Mm-hmm.
The holiest.
So perhaps it's not religion. Well, I mean, it is religion, but it's a philosophical religion as opposed to a...
Yeah, it's an ethos more than a institution.
Right, okay. All right, I went with birth because I don't get to do that in games much.
Yeah.
And also I'm 36 and a woman, and I think about it a lot. All right, so the definition is that no one gives birth anymore. They outsource it to machines.
Yeah.
Like, because that birth is hard work.
It sure is.
Can't be bothered.
Sure.
And so what about conception?
Man.
I think it's like a test tube babies.
The whole process is outsourced.
The whole process is outsourced.
Mm-hmm.
So have people forsaken physical pleasures?
Yeah, you have to sweat a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot
Like,
of
it's like a lot of effort.
A lot of effort goes into that.
Does everyone sweat all the time?
Because you're in a volcano.
Probably.
Because you're in a volcano. Not if you have some sort of mechanical suit around you, keeping you air conditioned all the time.
Oh, that also prevents birth.
So my tradition is of the arts. There's sort of a musical theory of minimalism, like getting expression across in as few notes as possible and with as little action as possible. It's easier to listen to.
Yeah.
And, you can think about it when you're laying around. So that this sort of minimalist gas organ music is all the rage.
Yes.
And so it's one of the few things where someone will actively go and play the gas organ, but keeping that, whether it's restricting how the gas passes through the pipes correctly so that there's fewer notes at any given time, sort of playing with the mechanisms to make sure that the bursts come in specific blasts, but there's a way to manipulate the mechanisms of how gas is released that changes that it doesn't make so they don't want constancy of their music. They want sort of single clean blasts of expression
And as few as possible.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do is actually pass these to our left and add a symbol to each one.
Symbols can be objects, tools, icons, locations, emblems, people. For example, a white flag is emblematic of surrender. Rings represent marriage. The office of the president is a symbol of executive power. They can be general, such as trees, or they can be very specific, such as the elder tree.
So I've got one to Ken's religion, the religious idea that it's righteous to have mechanics do everything for you. This idea that inaction, like personal autonomy, is not pure. It's expression of that. The purest expression is an external mechanical heart with glass valves that does the automatic response of keeping you alive, but shows it to people that like it's a badge that you wear, this external mechanical heart.
Does everyone have that badge or just some people?
Just some people have taken that step.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's...
I feel like the society is still hierarchical, or rather their like class levels.
You can't afford it.
Or something.
You can't afford it, or it could be dangerous.
You don't have enough pasta bucks.
So it's like you're putting...
Right,
in
it
doing
is dangerous.
It, you know, you're showing that you're willing to put even your life in the hands of... like outside of your own body's automatic control.
Okay.
They're just letting this machine pump the very blood through your body.
I think we're tapping into something right now, John, because I'm sort of on that same vibe myself with birth, where no one gives birth anymore. They outsource it, right, to machines. So you're like giving up your agency. I like that a lot, where it's like you're just giving up these things to the machine. And I wrote down that brood pouches are distributed randomly.
Could you explain what a brood pouch is?
Sure. It's what the birth is happening in. It's like a brood pouch.
What does it look like?
I think that it sort of looks like a leather satchel, kind of. And then it sort of looks like there's a balloon in it that's sort of like growing. And so the pouches are distributed randomly once the pouch is ripened enough.
Okay, so they give a pouch to someone,
Yeah.
and then what does that person do with it?
I don't know how child rearing works just yet, because that's a really interesting question.
Okay,
Right? It's a really, really interesting question. Like, how do you raise a child in this society? Like, how do you indoctrinate them? Like, are there schools or teachers? Probably, like, no, I don't know. So, yeah, I just like the idea, though, that it sort of goes along with that Brave New World, I guess, where everyone belongs to everyone sort of thing, where you never know who your actual parents are. You're just the child of this society of the machine. So I'm digging that.
All right, I've got the central organ, which is shaped like a lung in the center of the caldera.
Oh, what was what was this? This is art?
This was art, yeah.
Oh, so the central organ is shaped like a lung? Is that what you said?
Yeah, in the center of the caldera on those bridges.
Yeah.
So it's suspended out there?
Well, it's on the bridges, but yeah.
Do you have to like climb down into it to play it? Like where do you go to play it?
Oh yeah, you have to climb down a ladder to it's
get in
being
there.
hung.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So it's like suspended.
Suspended, and you have to either climb up or down through these not rope, but like they look like rope ladders. Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. That's
right.
sweet. Okay, so the central lung, if you will, is where the music is made.
Well, it's called the central organ.
Excuse
that
me.
looks like a lung.
I apologize. The central organ. The central organ is the place where music is made. The big music, like the societal steam music. What's the next step, John?
We do another round of
this?
this?
Another round of this.
Of traditions.
And so we'll have 6 by the end of this.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll name our world. And then we'll generate our characters.
So education. Children go to trade school or management school. So
that seems anti-sloth.
It seems anti-sloth.
Yeah. Those very words. Trade
and management.
And management.
Both seem anti-sloth. Well, not everybody can be the slothiest in the society. Not all sloths are equal. I'd change it just a little bit. When they do go, children go to trade school or management school.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the tradition of fashion. And people wear pasta robes that get destroyed each night by sleeping on them and then rebuilt each morning by robots.
Nice.
Wow.
Because you sleep and you roll around and the pasta disintegrates.
You don't eat the pasta.
Or you
at
also
any point.
over the course of the day.
No, why would you eat?
Why would
yeah,
you eat your
if you sit down, a robot has to come and
do you also do people sweat a lot and like soak the pasta? It's like the heat and sweat.
That's gauche. But if they do, that's a sign of like how gross you are. If your pasta starts getting sweaty,
gets soggy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was toying with the idea, and maybe do people ever eat their clothes? Because that seems like the slothiest.
Oh, that does seem pretty easy. Like they put on their. I'm just gonna eat my clothes.
I'm just gonna eat my clothes off.
Well, we can. That can be subdefined in the.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will.
Mine is death. So a dying person must throw themselves into the lava.
Oh,
it's an act you must take.
Nice.
if a dead body is found, it's carried to the lip of the volcano and it rolls down into the frozen waste. So it's
and
so
that's
it's
like
considered.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it's sort of like it's up to you to take the act of throwing yourself back into the volcano.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, then you were unceremoniously dumped off the ridge of the volcano.
It's bad form, and all your mechanical parts are stripped off of you, and you're just like, you don't join the machine. You get thrown out. Because that could be. Oh, I love it. I mean, is there any religious or death or cultural component between the music that's actually coming out of these pipes and the bodies that have been thrown into the lava? Is there any connection between those two things in people's minds?
Possibly, maybe, yeah.
Death. A dying person must throw themselves into the lava. A dead body is carried to the lip of the volcano and rolled into the frozen wastes. I've said that the Hall of Voice is where people go to join the central organ's path to glory.
Is that a mental concept?
It is a mental concept. The Hall of Voice, though, is the actual place where people go to throw themselves in the lava.
Oh, okay.
And the mental concept is that by doing this, the central organ will pump their souls into glory, that they don't have to do anything for themselves.
So where's the Hall of the Voice?
I think it's right. It's
under
right,
the organ?
No, I think it's at the bottom of the caldera, very close to the lava.
Yeah.
So you just sort of go down there, and it's beautiful and opulent, and you throw yourself in the lava.
Is it literally like a room?
Yeah, it's a room. It's a hall.
And it sort of opens to the side.
And it's open to the lava to look out onto it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I think that there are probably like separate. In my mind, I think there are like slides that you basically like just fall onto, and you slide. You just like are shooted into the down a chute. Yeah, or maybe there's curlicue slides, depending on how much fun you want to have on your way down.
So mine, to add to your fashion tradition, where people wear pasta robes that get destroyed each night by sleeping on them and rebuilt each morning by robots, the more leisurely are encrusted with layers of pasta.
Yes.
So that as they're if they don't destroy the entire robe of day's pasta, more is just added on at night.
Oh, and it's like a symbol.
So
hence what we're doing.
The more leisurely you are, the more pasta you've accrued over your time. And so as you move, it might shatter and crack, and that's the stuff that falls away and but the stuff that doesn't fall away, you still get added, layers get added by the robots.
So really great people are just balls of pasta.
Right. They're just rooms with a man in the midst of this pasta.
Yeah.
Are the robots mechanical or are they digital? Are they steam robots or are they circuit board robots?
So maybe it's just digital.
It's digital. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, right. So I had education. When children go to trade school or management school, I've got a little hammer tattoo that goes on the forehead of the working class.
Nice.
All right.
So there's a class system and station.
Class system.
So now we've generated our grid of traditions. We have, I'll kind of run through them. At the heart of our world is Sloth, the elements being music, fire, and pasta. So we live in this volcano with a lattice of bridges that suspend glass tubes and these large metal and stone tubes along the sides, and little homes carved into the caldera. And down in the deep heart of it, there's the lava, which swims with salamanders that we harvest their eggs, and the dying dive off of this lowest platform, this beautiful area, into the heat and burn up. And there's this large lung of glass that is played to release steam with a specific tonal idea. And out beyond the volcano is just frozen waste. And at the base of the volcano are these half man, half machine frozen bodies, all littering the wastes, and an occasional pocket of heat, where the little farm is, maybe coated in glass.
Grow a lot of wheat.
Lots of wheat in this heavy metal environment.
I kind of like the idea that the bodies are at the bottom that are rolled down into the snowy wastes are stripped by something out there. There's something else living out there.
All right. Okay. So our traditions.
And it's you had mentioned that it's really it's a sign of, I guess,
Opulence?
I was going to say it was a sign of genius to be able to play the glass lung with only 1 or 2 or 3
like extreme minimalism.
Extreme minimalism. So the idea is that those people who can actually work the glass organ with as few moves or as few changes as possible are the most accomplished musicians.
And the most righteous people in the society are surrounded by pasta in their living room and can't seem to move or escape.
But somehow have to get themselves to the edge.
Yes.
So
that's their final great journey.
So we have a religion where replacing yourself with, or you reach righteousness and purity by allowing the machines to do everything for you, and that's the penultimate of that, is allowing taking in the machines so that you become autonomous. That the machines take over some of your autonomic functions.
Yes. So they're breathing for you or pumping your blood or whatever thing that the machine might be. You've either replaced your lungs or your heart. You could even replace like a stomach or like a gallbladder or your kidney. Any organ that you would need to survive
is replaceable.
Can be replaced.
So education-wise, the children, if they choose to go to school, have 2 paths. There's management or trade. And so those in trade are marked with a hammer.
Yeah.
Right.
There's this sort of fashion, these robots that go around and add clothing back onto people using the very foodstuffs of the world and just encrust them with more and more pasta. And when someone is born, they're born via machines.
Yep.
And
they are born
and just
in
distributed
to just
randomly in pouches where they gestate.
I feel like because this is such a machine-based society or rather a minimalist too, it's like efficiency is really important to people. So it's like, oh, you guys aren't raising anyone right now, you get a kid. Like,
the next thing we do is actually name this world.
Yes.
I mean, it could be very simple, like the Crucible.
I like the machine. I mean, we keep saying that a lot.
Maybe we can combine those two.
No, I'm happy to call it the Crucible.
It could be the Crucible of the machine, but we're so lazy we just call it calm.
Yes.
The children of calm.
The children of calm.
So the next step is generating our characters, and there are 3 main characters. There's the hero, the fallen, and the pillar. So the main character is the hero, and they're the ones who recognize Haven's coming doom, and they're trying to prevent it. And they're going to fail. That's sort of the crux of the hero. And the fallen is another character who actively promotes the Flaw's growth within the Haven. And there are many in the Haven who support the Flaw. The fallen is just one of them. They are an antagonist who creates challenges for the hero throughout play. So they'll be the Flaw. While we as players know the Flaw is going to destroy us, the fallen might honestly believe it won't.
Sure.
Then there's the pillar, and they are a normal person of Haven. So they may turn a blind eye or embrace the status quo, but they're not actively antagonizing the hero, but they're not also actively trying to fix the Flaw.
No.
So we resist change. So we'll start with the hero. The first thing that they kind of ask you to discuss is these following questions. The first will be occupation. So we should choose a tradition and give the hero a position or role in the Haven that relates to that tradition.
I like the idea that this hero was like one of the preeminent musicians who play the central organ.
That's true, because you have to be very smart to play the organ?
I think that the idea is that minimalist organ music, gas organ music, is like the pinnacle, is all the rage, is the sort of the pinnacle of the art. So the more minimalistic you can make it, the easier, the more efficient you can make. Basically what you're doing is you're allowing these trapped gases to escape via certain routes, and those routes create music, create sound, right? Though, I mean, there's sort of the religious aspect of it that some people think the gas that's escaping are actually the souls of people who have thrown themselves into the lava. At any rate, you have to be very good at minimizing how many tubes these gases need to flow through.
Regular Philip gas.
Oh. So yeah, you have to be very efficient. You have to be a very efficient musician to be lauded in this society.
So no. Dun, 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 dun,
Exactly. Yeah, chopsticks maybe wouldn't be the song. Yeah, I think we're coalescing around that
organist.
one. Organist.
He's the central organist.
Central organist. One of the central organists.
Yeah, because you can't do it all day.
No.
In fact,
and why would you?
You probably have to do it for an hour, and then you're just.
Yeah, that's doing it all day sounds like
God.
way too much effort
Whoa.
for this world. You're gonna start sweating in there.
Oh my God.
Something. Sweating is really, really gauche in this world.
Yeah.
If you're sweating at all, like that's no bueno.
They're an organist connected in some way to the lung tradition.
Exactly.
Yes.
They are an organist connected to the central organ, which is shaped like a lung,
Thank you for remembering.
which is in the middle of the caldera. It's almost like the central focus point. If you look up or look down, you'll see this sort of, what is it made out of? Glass?
Yeah.
Yeah, glass.
A glass lung-shaped
Sparkles in the night.
sparkles in the night. In the night?
So the next question down on the heroes list is, what tradition do they oppose, and why do they oppose it? And it can be different from the tradition that they are
occupied with. Yeah.
My thought is that he wants to play other music. He wants music with love and passion, and or she.
So then would he oppose the tradition of minimalism in
Yeah,
the art, specifically in their
probably.
job?
I like that.
Which kind of manifests itself in different in the other traditions as well in different ways.
Yeah.
Like why only pasta?
And why does he oppose that?
Because he has art in his heart.
Why do they buck against this specific tradition?
They just want to express themselves in more notes, but also can be in all more ways. Period.
Yes.
So freedom of expression.
Okay.
So then this is identity. Specifically, what does the hero look like, and what is their name?
Covered in pasta.
Now, how encrusted with pasta are they?
Probably not very, because they have to play the organ, right, and get there every
yeah,
day.
I mean,
They have to climb and stuff.
Yeah,
They have a very thin pasta shell.
they have a thin pasta shell.
Are these bodies like, they have sloth, but they may not be gluttons?
No, we haven't really gotten to that. It's not, gluttony does not equal sloth. It doesn't mean that everyone's
Yeah, I don't
super
think in this society.
obese or something like that.
Right.
Just means that everyone is really lazy. It means that everyone's
And food's hard to
really-
come by. Well, no, that's not true, because there's pasta everywhere.
There's pasta everywhere. Robots are ostensibly making this pasta. I think our go ahead.
Atrophy may be an issue. Like
Yes.
like our hero may
Atrophy.
have like some more because he has to climb, because he has to play. Like everyone, even our hero to some degree, may have like just soft, weak muscles because there's a languor that everyone espouses.
Yeah.
But because they have to climb, because they have to do their playing as little as it is and as slowly as they do it, they still have some more musculature than
The average,
than the average denizen of
not
calm.
not as much as maybe someone who has a hammer tattooed on their forehead.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like our protagonist is male. Is that what we're thinking here?
probably.
We can bucket. I don't think there's any need to.
Yeah.
It can be either.
Yeah, of course.
I don't really care.
I mean, also like gender, because everyone is birthed through these pods.
It's not super important.
Yeah, it's
True.
sort of like a non-construct. So there could be no gender constructs in this world.
It's true.
Oh, let's do that. That's fun.
I don't know, what would our nouns be for.
Them,
Yeah, we should have a.
They. What is their name?
So let's describe. So you're born in a brood pod. You're just given to some people.
Yep.
You're like bequeathed to them. Does that determine like who you're given to? Determine what your education status is if you go into education?
If you go to be educated, yeah.
Are there almost like 3 tiers where there's those who can afford to not even have education, and that's the highest? Then the tier who's sort of the middle man. They're literally the management. They're middle managers.
Yep.
And then those who are of the hammer.
Right, who have to repair everything and go and like.
Well, what's the musicians? Are they the hammer people too? Probably, right?
Maybe they're chosen from amongst the top class. Because like the arts could be a leisure activity.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the idea that you have to know how to repair these music organs as well. So maybe they are drawn from.
Yeah, that might be
hammerheads.
true, because it's like you have to make the least amount of notes by like capturing and moving air around in different weird ways. It might actually be
almost
very
like engineering.
scientific.
Yeah, it's almost like engineering.
Yeah, I think he's probably the lowest class. Or, they are of the lowest class.
Would it be something like simple where you have sort of the doers who are forced to do? They're like one step above being a machine.
Right.
In terms of class. The
Pointers?
The pointers or the sayers.
Yeah,
the pointers
I like the
is
middle.
good.
Like,
Okay.
So the doers, the pointers.
Layers. I mean, I like layers. So
All right.
Okay.
let's go.
So he's a doer.
He's a
doer,
doer.
pointers, and layers.
Maybe doer is part of the name, or even it could be doer last name, like Goody,
Yeah.
Hampshire kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like doer is like your
Well,
honorific.
I mean, maybe that's just it. Maybe it's doer Central Oregon. Like your name is your function.
But then it would have to be like doer CO5.
Okay. Yeah, because there's more.
Because he's in the 5th shift.
Yeah, there's more. Doer Central Oregon 5.
Yeah.
Is it like do org number?
What do you mean?
Like it would be like, Oregon 5 or org 5 or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, doer
Like-
org 5.
Doer org 5.
I like this thing that they're shorting everything. I think that's what you're trying to do as well. So it's like Duorg 5.
Yeah, Duorg.
Duorg.
Dorg 5.
Yeah, Duorg 5. So doers even more cut down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't want to say syllables.
No. When you're talking, you definitely don't want to say syllables.
So these people are like encased in pasta.
They wear pasta outfits.
Their hair is long and like entangled with pasta.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's getting haircuts all
I mean,
that
the
often.
robots can do it.
The robots cut your hair.
I feel like the robots
Yeah.
do most things.
Yeah, they do a
Like-
lot of things.
Control your meal sizes.
I think because they don't want to sweat and also like showing, maybe they're just like completely clean shaven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see immediately if someone is
Like
sweating.
breaks into a sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you could see under all that pasta.
So thin pasta shell, some musculature, hairless like everyone else.
Hairless like everyone else.
Also, as a doer, maybe they're all organic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, so they don't have
Yeah.
any mechanical.
Oh, yeah,
accoutrement.
yeah.
As a doer, they're all all organic. Huh. Yeah, because they're like the robots are like their reflection basically. So robots are all mechanical, and they're all organic.
The people who are penultimate, the layers, may even they replace their skin with neoprene or some sort of like stuff that can't sweat and doesn't have pores. And slowly
Yes.
it's almost weirdly they become like the lowest of themselves of the class, and that they become more like the robots that serve them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As they replace
They don't
themselves.
see that, though.
Right.
No, definitely not.
That's an irony lost.
Yeah, that's an irony lost. Yeah, because they're
What
not
color-
doing anything.
What color eyes does Duorg 5 have?
Mismatched.
Should there be
eyes.
something like striking about them, or something
So, yeah,
that
it's
sets them
one
apart?
blue eye and one brown eye. It's mismatched eyes.
That's a mistake in the breeding.
Yup.
That shouldn't have happened.
Nope.
Someone kicked that sack.
someone dropped that sack. So at some point in this process.
And maybe our genders too, like since there aren't genders, it's like the do's, the poys, and the laws.
Yeah.
The do pa laws.
Yeah.
Or poi, do poi la.
Yeah, this is going to be hard to act, but we'll do it. Dopala.
Do poi la. So we'll go through our hero. He is, it is do-org 5, do-org 5. It is an organist connected to the central organ lung who opposes the minimalism that is all the rage, that is the penultimate music of the gas organs, and wants to express themselves. As a player, their class is maybe a little higher in the strata of doers, but still has the hammer that marks them, and maybe the hammer has a lung around it to note what their society.
Yeah. It's they occupy a really weird position because they are lauded. People like what they're doing. This artistic expression is like some of the only artistic expression. No one really expresses themselves through fashion, really. I mean, you're just like getting more layers of pasta on you.
So they're hairless like everyone else, and all organic, and has a thin pasta shell, which shows off that they have some musculature. They have some loose definition within their body, which is
not atrophied,
somewhat reviled, which is like
It's gross.
Yeah,
it's
because those with real muscles are hidden away. They're the ones who work and toil.
Oh yeah, you don't see them normally.
Yeah.
and they have one blue eye, one brown eye.
Yeah, they do. Okay.
So that's our hero. So now we move on to making our fallen. So the fallen, we should first define the relationship to the hero in the fallen. So they're going to be the antagonist. So the relationship is, what is their connection between the fallen and the hero? Family, friend, guardian, leader, lover.
It's tough in this society.
Yeah, I mean,
I immediately think of another organ player.
Which would be like a friend. I mean, it's that, or you
Yeah.
have a pointer who is the like conductor.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
not for this, but like there's also a chance that the job of doing the lung organ is more dangerous due to possible explosions of the lava. So there could be like another doer who is actually guarding him from being hit by lava.
Or like a maintenance doer who, because
Yeah,
the other aspect is
It's like your wingman, or like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the person
yeah.
who's like sitting behind you, making sure
almost like an
all these other things are going.
Right.
Yeah, an engineer or producer or something like that.
because they could be, well, engineer too, in the sense that like Scotty or something.
Yeah,
where
that's exactly.
the function of this thing is to release the gases so that you don't poison the rest of the world.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
that's
it's a
the
two
actual
there's two
function.
there's two parts to the organ, right? Or
Right.
like you need
So there's
one
the
person
guy,
to do the music and the other person to do the mechanics.
right, who measures like who's making sure the gas is going into the right valves and checks the pressure and says you need to play or that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that could
Sure.
be our guardian.
There's probably 24
Organist?
Duorgs.
Dorgs, yeah. There's
Mm.
24 of them.
So they probably match them up according to who's the best, who to get along with the most, maybe.
And is this a lifelong job?
Yeah.
I guess so.
So are they like at a certain point, like at a
Yeah, I
post
think they're-
apprenticeship, are they just placed?
I like the idea that they're like much older, like in their middle age. Like this has been going on for a long time.
I'll add that to
Yeah.
Dwarf
Well,
vibe.
are we talking about like 45 or like 65? What are we talking?
What's the median age for these people?
That's a great question. I think that it depends on what class you're in. I think doers probably don't last as long as layers, to say nothing of like mechanical modifications and weird shit that you're getting put into you or taken out, as the case may be. So I think it's probably based on your class.
Well, there's also that level of like whether you're getting like the layers get no exercise
Right.
and just sit and eat and sort of like waste.
And
away.
then have their hearts replaced by
Right.
machines and their skin replaced. And that,
So it's sort of
know.
like, yeah, what's the, I mean, maybe we go with like a median age for doers of like 50 is like the when they kind of cap out.
that's brutal. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
Though.
They're just kind of
So,
used
but
up.
I feel like these guys, it's a little different. Like they're able to stay a little older. They get a little older because
like
they're not.
70, 80.
Yeah, because
kinda
they're
thing.
not.
So maybe that puts these guys at like 45, 50, right?
Yeah, and I like that because, as we've alluded to, you need two people because accidents do happen and poisonous gas floods the
Right.
central organ and kills everyone in there. You know, that's that's the last line of defense. It's like the gas floods the central organ instead of the entire caldera.
And they've been on the job for like 25 years.
Yeah, they've known each other.
So
for
if
a
it's
while.
like if they're like 45
Yeah.
and they from the end of their apprenticeship at
20.
20.
Yeah, that makes sense.
they're just on it.
Yep.
So they've worked together for 20.
Got to work 1 hour a day for 25 years together.
And that an hour of work is exhaustive.
Yeah,
in this
I
society.
mean
Yeah.
that's beyond the pale.
So we've kind of said with their tradition, with their
Yeah.
they're also connected to the arts.
Mm-hmm.
What do? They're an organ engineer, and they monitor the gas.
Now, are they a doer or are they a pointer?
Oh, they're a doer.
They are a doer.
Yeah,
right.
these are kind of like self-contained little units. Maybe they don't even have pointers that tell, except to tell them like to go, assign them like go. That's all at the point. Like it just kind of says go do your job.
I mean, yeah, I feel like this person might be a pointer then because they're like looking at gauges and saying, okay, play this note. Okay, do this.
Could
Or
be.
don't do this. Do this.
And it makes I feel like it makes their friendship harder to have a friendship. But
Oh, if
maybe
they're different.
I don't know.
They
Could
could
be.
have. I mean, yeah, the pointer could be someone that just basically says like your shift starts, your shift ends.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
true.
Like they're the clock basically.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, no, yeah, I'm
Okay.
I'm down. All right.
So,
they,
identity.
so they have a hammer on their forehead as well, and they have a lung around the hammer. They're bald and hairless. They're also wearing a pasta suit,
and also thin.
Probably thinner.
much thinner. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I was. The thinner the pasta suit, the more labor you do. In the,
I think,
Yes.
yeah, maybe this guy. has he has a little more or it has more definition.
They have more definition
because it has to like turn cranks and like push stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas all Duorg 5 does is kind of hit buttons on the key thing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
And all organic.
Yeah, all organic. Character
maybe there was an accident and they have a replacement part.
Yeah,
sure,
I like that.
yeah.
They maybe have had their lower jaw replaced or something like that.
Sure.
Like they got a lot of
scenic.
Yeah, they got a lot of hot oil or something like that burned their face off.
Sure.
And I think that their name should be almost exactly the same as Duorg 5.
Duorg 6.
It's going to be Duorg 5E.
Maybe it's like vent.
Oh.
Like Duvent.
Yeah, Duvent
Yeah,
5.
it's like a duvet.
Duvent 5.
So this guy's Duvent. Also same age, like we'll say 45.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They were potted together.
Yeah.
They were sacked.
Yeah,
they were sacked
they're
collectively.
from the same sack crop.
So we got the metal jaw. I think that's good for features on Dovent 5, right? So we've generated those guys. The last one we're going to generate is the pillar. The pillar's a normal person and sort of the representative of normal people. Normal within our society.
Are they a robot?
I don't know. Well, so they're a normal person in the Haven, content to live in the society they're part of. There are many within the Haven who are complacent. The pillar is just one of them. They push the hero toward accepting the status quo. However, the pillar is not necessarily opposed to the hero. There's someone the hero can talk to about the Haven. So the first thing we're going to define within this is what is the connection between the pillar and the hero. Similar sort of thing where it can be family, friend, guardian, leader, lover.
I mean, this could be the pointer.
Would that be kind of in a guardian role then?
Or
too?
the leader
role?
I still like robot, but...
Well, robot's not like a normal person in the society, though.
I mean, there's so many of them. They're doing all this stuff.
But do they communicate is the other question.
Yeah, that is
God, like the Sorcerer's Apprentice,
uh-huh.
where these things were just like
a machine
to generate them and give them their roles.
Yeah, their
was
automatons.
just like works. It just kind of spits them out and tells them to go, and they do their thing, and they do their thing, and they do their thing. And these people just reap the benefits of having...
Maybe it's the central machine that makes all the other machines. But that's like really not common.
What about lover, though? Because I'm going to flip over there then. Because physical love, no.
Artistic love?
I mean, yeah.
It could be someone who's an appreciator of the arts.
Yeah.
And is like the biggest fan.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
They always make sure to be nudged awake for the performance of at 5.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. I mean,
that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So it's a fan
They should
boy.
be a layer, not a pointer. They should just
fan lay.
Fan lay.
It's a fan lay.
So they're a layer.
They're a layer,
who is infatuated with
the artistic talent.
Dorg
5's
music
chops.
So then occupation, what do they do? What tradition is their occupation connected to?
I like religion. That's a good way to go. Or fashion. I mean, those are...
Do they have to have an occupation? It's a layer.
Yeah, it's part of their...
They're connected to a tradition.
Yeah, so again...
they have to be connected to a tradition.
Right, so that's kind of what they're... Like, they could be they could be of the religious order where they've had parts replaced.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. I like that. I mean, any of them work, actually. I mean... But religion's good.
So they're connected to the religion, and their occupation is they are a layer. Layers don't, like you're saying, they don't really do something, but they're occupied with replacing themselves piece by piece.
It's either robots or doers who are going to be replacing these people's organs. Right.
Maybe they're like, I'm kind of thinking that.
But once you're part non-organic, they stop putting pasta in that area. I don't know.
They stop
it. So you can show
off that new sweet thing.
I mean, it can even just be a devout.
Yeah.
Within it, and which means that they're like a certain percentage of them is like they're 80% machine.
Yeah, 80% machine.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's great.
So they're a devout.
Yeah, they're devout.
So describe them. How organic are they?
20%.
They're 20%.
Yeah, they're 20% organic. I like that a lot. So most of their organs have been replaced.
Yeah.
They don't walk around. They lay obviously on like a sled or some sort of machine that walks around for them. Like, I guess it could easily be like an electric wheelchair or something like that. They could use something like that.
Now, do they leave their abodes except to get the replacements done? And do they communicate like through
I think they're not.
messengers?
I think they're supposed to not leave their abodes, but they might be able to sneak around. I don't know if they can sneak actually, but the more robot parts you have, the better you are at sneaking.
They're not getting any replacements that are allowing them to do anything better. Like, oh, I'm so much stronger now, or oh, I can see so much further, or I can run so much faster. They don't want to do any of that stuff anyways. Right?
Yeah, it's more like replacing their skin so they
so they don't sweat. Like replacing their hair so it never grows past this length.
Like replacing their mouth with like
a feeding tube.
What is that called? Like a garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Gross. So yeah, it's more creepy stuff like that. Yeah. So I feel like that this person, as long as they're laying down, it doesn't matter where they go or what happens because they're not doing anything. Like their mechanical palanquin is taking them around.
Maybe they're like attached into that too, so they can just kind of command this sled to kind of push them around.
Sure.
We'll say like the skin is replaced.
Yeah. This person's skin has been replaced. Their heart has been replaced. It's external to their chest.
Heart. They still have let's say they still have like a normal mouth.
Yeah. They still have a normal mouth, which means that they have to masticate, that they have to chew. But maybe they're getting really into like just like straw forms, like gut, like drinking protein shakes. Like we're talking like Soylent right now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Where they're just
kind of
they're like drinking their meals. They don't really eat any. They don't want to masticate.
Right.
That's too much work.
Again, hairless. Their skin is just this neoprene like plastic.
I mean, like they're hairless because they've been replaced. They replaced all that.
Yeah. Their heart's outside their chest. Their lungs have been replaced with mechanical lungs.
So their skin, should it be skin color or is it just like a fashion statement?
That's a really great idea. Their skin is translucent, so you can see the mechanics underneath and the organs.
But only in places.
Only in places. Okay. Yeah, they have translucent skin.
To show off.
Otherwise, what? Their skin is like gray, like the robots? Like grayish?
Sure.
Well, sure. It's probably their choice, right?
Yeah, their choice, whatever they want it to
But
be.
sure, this person's like, gray's the way.
What's their name? And they don't do anything.
Live out?
Do they get names? Can they give themselves, they have the honorific since they are like the people?
Well, Law is the honorific, right? It's almost like you could even put an apostrophe after the A.
So it's like La
Daryl.
Yeah, seriously. It could be something like La Rachel.
The other thing, so if these guys have really long lifespans after the mechanics, so like how old is this guy? Maybe like
250?
250,
Damn,
which is
son. Yeah, sure.
Which is like half life. So average 500. So
they know a lot about music by now.
Definitely, and this is like the best shit they've ever
shit
heard.
Ever.
They're older.
Okay, so do we want them to be numerals, like their names are numerals, or do
I was wondering, like, is it like
it's like a passed down like thing?
Like, or maybe when someone dies, the sack gets made to replace that thing.
So the population
is static.
Calm is static.
Yeah.
So everyone has a function at all times.
Maybe too, like the fewer syllables in your name.
Oh, that makes sense.
The more like prestigious.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So
that makes sense.
Like even having a La Vie Sue or something like.
It should just be like La Vie.
Like lava.
Yeah.
La Vie on rules.
Yeah, like La Vie. Like just a letter. And maybe it means Valerie or Vincent or who knows what it means or did mean in the past. But at this point. But I like the numeral at the end though.
La Vie.
Good.
Yeah, La Vie.
Okay. And then there may be some others who like have like La Vie. Like
definitely.
They just have other letters like La Vie X or something would be like this. So he's first tier. He's within the first, let's assume it's a 6 alpha.
I mean, V is a normal Roman numeral as well.
Right.
Sort of fun.
So he's within like maybe he's within the generational family.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you're given that name again when it passes over.
Yeah, I mean when this La Vie dies, then another one.
Then whoever's in their brood,
yeah,
will take La Vie.
Exactly.
It'll be
awakened. Yeah, La Vie's eggs or sperm has been harvested already, and it's chambered and ready to go.
Cool. So we have our we have our pillar, we have our hero, and we have our fallen.
Dang.
Nice. So we'll pause our story there and continue in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho or on Snapchat at NotDeadJohn, though I don't use it as often as I should. Where can people find you, Lisa?
Hi, you can find me on Twitter at LisaXRanky. Go there.
All right.
I'm Ken Breeze. You can find me all over the internet, but mostly on Twitter as well at Berlingsbeard, BERLINGS, as well as my blog. I'm also on G+.
To learn more about the players and the engines in our story, visit boardghost.com. You can attempt to pierce the veil and contact us at BoardGhostWorld on Twitter. Shout out through the ether if you have any desires we can fulfill. Leave reviews and comments on iTunes or your preferred listening portal. Please take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest episodes. We'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's page, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, or has it been forever? 'Cause dying don't